concerned about.
Well, 58 cents. I thought, what is this?
That's the key.
Yeah.
That's.
Call a meeting to order. This is a Monday, June 27, 2022. It's the Boards of Directors regular meeting. Please stand and follow me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Take your hand over your heart. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Director Schaefer, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Yeah, if you'd all take a moment to reflect with all of us. As we celebrate our nation's birthday next week, please give strength to our institutions who are struggling. A lot of dissent and a lot of areas in the country that need strengthening, and we ask for your help with that. Please be with us this evening and see that our decisions are in the best interest of all those involved. Amen.
That's all right. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Director Brett Eccles,
Here.
Director Arthur Perry, Secretary Arlene Schaefer. Here. Vice President Mike Schaefer,
Here.
President Robert Uten.
Here.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, are there any announcement of late communications?
No, Mr. President.
And there are no ceremonial matters or presentations?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go to public comments. And we have one, Robert Pace. Please speak into the microphone. Get as close to you.
Good evening. My name is Robert Pace. I live at 2030 Monrovia Avenue in Costa Mesa, and I'm having a real problem with our trash pickup. It's every other week. It seems like we have either they pick up the green waste or they pick up the solid waste. They don't pick up both of them at the same time.
Right.
Last week they came, understandably a holiday, whatever. And they picked up our solid waste and left our green waste for 2 or 3 days. And they obviously CNRR were there. And I saw the other truck running around delivering new trash cans. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with CNR. I've reached out to Costa Mesa Sanitary District. I emailed, I've called several different times. Sometimes I get a call back, sometimes I don't. I never received anything back from my email. And this is an ongoing issue. And this has been going on for the last 18 months or so.
Yep.
And the real big problem is Tuesday is street sweeping for us.
Mm.
So when I live on one of the lowest spots on the block, so I don't get the luxury of, I'm double whammied. And hence and I've been told, well, since the pandemic, they're short of people. May or may not be, but when I talk to my neighbors up in Mesa Verde, they don't have the problem I have. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. If we could get the bottom of this and try to get a consistent trash pickup, that would be great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
What's Monday, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Tuesday is our street sweep.
Right. Thank you.
Mr. President, and question for Scott, since if it's okay to, we aware of the missed pickups on Monrovia that Mr. Pace discussed?
I'm not personally, but if anyone, staff would be aware of it, and we do our best to address it as quickly as possible, and we also follow up on those missed collections.
Okay,
So that's why we encourage residents to contact us, so then we can follow up on it.
sure. So, obviously, hopefully you can have you experienced missed pickups, say the past month on Monrovia itself, or?
Again, I can't recall off the top of my head. I know we're having missed collections throughout the
Right.
community. It's not particularly just one street, it's throughout the community, but
Right.
where it's still occurring, yes.
Okay, so I would just ask maybe take this specific request and get back to Mr. Pace. Thank you.
That would be great. I've left my information with you. And then, like I said, I'm not quite sure how to contact my representative in my district or anything like that. What I saw on the website was to email, which I did, and I never got a response back. And then I've also called down here several times and talked to the nice lady. I believe she's the front office here.
Mhm.
And then last week I spoke to, I don't have my phone with me. Oh, I can tell you right here. I spoke to one of the other young ladies. nicely, she gave me her phone number and she gave me her, I do have my phone. Bear with me, if you would, please. I spoke to Miss Midway. And she was very nice.
Mhm. Ooh.
She never got back to me. And then it wasn't, like I said, till Thursday that they finally came and collected our green waste.
Okay,
So I'm having
Yeah.
some difficulties on the follow-up from the district once I reach out for help.
right. Well, we've recorded the meeting, so we can go back and listen to your comments.
Thank you very much for your time
Yeah,
and have a good
I
evening.
have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't you receive anything as a phone call saying, this is CRNR and we're sorry that we're delayed? I've got it myself and my neighbors got it. That's why I'm curious.
Once I got that, a recording from CRNR, trying to get a hold of them is like trying to pull teeth. I mean, and I'm on hold
Oh.
forever, and then their follow-up isn't very good. And then they'll say that they've sent somebody out and then nobody ever comes out, and or our truck broke down. Or like the big thing has been lately is we don't have the drivers because of COVID.
But-
And
You know,
Right.
they're in the process right now of having different trucks. They're getting trucks. But, yeah, there's no excuse.
my rates keep going up.
I know.
My trash cans keep getting
So
smaller.
I had it in my
and
area the
that's a
same
whole
way.
nother conversation for maybe another time. We'll address one issue at a
Okay.
time here.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
then, but yeah, that's.
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I
Um,
have that in my area too. Bad.
Let's go on to the consent calendar. Do any of the directors have any items they want to pull for further discussion?
Move for approval of the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or wishing to abstain? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Public hearings, we do have a public hearing. And I have a procedure for the delinquent account hearing. We will now conduct a public hearing to assess delinquent and unpaid charges for services on the assessment roll pursuant to the Health and Safety Code. All the properties and owners that are subject to this public hearing have been duly notified of the public hearing, and the charges have been outstanding for more than 60 days. I will now open the public hearing to determine if there are objections or protests to the assessment on the tax roll. Madam Clerk, do we have any? Okay, hearing no one, I will now close the public hearing and entertain a motion to adopt the resolution and assess the property on the tax roll, after which amounts will constitute a lien on the respective properties. Do we need to discuss the, any of this? Director Eccles?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a question. So if I'm reading correctly, just multiple errors in billing is what's driving these delinquent notices. Am I correct in that? Okay. So it could be similar to a prior resident. It's just, it's happened over the past couple of years, and this is for back billing charges that were incorrectly billed.
Yes, for a certain, I think up back to 3 years, I think it goes back.
Okay. And these residents have had an opportunity to appeal the back charges, right?
Appeal it, and we also gave an option to interest-free payment.
Okay.
'Cause we understand that, getting this bill probably been shocking, as I would if I was in their shoes. So we allowed them to have a payment plan for a full year, basically, to pay it off
Okay.
interest-free. So
So out of these, whatever the final count is, no one's requested a payment plan or an appeal. Okay, all right, thank you.
Any further discussion by the board?
I have a quick question for staff, Mr. President. We're going back, you'd mentioned in the report that most of these folks are 1 or 2 years. Do we have any kind of, I look, unless I just missed it, do we have any indication that any of these properties go back even further? I'm sure there are some that go back. These are the charges for 1 or 2 years. We don't know, like, has it been wrong for 10 or 20 years?
No, not fine. Even if we did, it's really a moot point. There's nothing we can do. We can't go back that far and recoup. our
Don't we
costs.
have a resolution that says we can only go back 3 years?
Yes.
3 or 4 years? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not our, you know what, Alan, I think I remember talking about that before. It's state law, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's.
In the Code of Civil Procedure.
Did we have a motion to approve yet?
No, I
I'll
need
make
a
a motion to approve resolution 2022-963.
I'll second it.
Mr. President, can I just make one comment?
Sure.
Anyone who ever watches this or online now or in the future, my position is if a resident does have an issue with a back bill or something like that, get in touch with staff, and if need be, as other residents have done, come here and appeal to the board. And, my position is always like, let's work with you. And so I just want to point that out, that if in this case, I'll support the motion. They didn't come and dispute, debate, ask for any help. So at this point, we're left with this, but I would encourage any resident who has billing discrepancies and things like that to certainly work with the district. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next item is the general manager's reports. Consider adopting administration regulations number 120 pertaining to the bilingual pay for qualified employees. Do any of the directors have any further questions on this item?
Does the manager have something to say, or we just?
I guess I'll just reiterate that, again, this item's been discussed a couple of board meetings. I do want to, again, reassure the board that not every employee is going to receive bilingual pay. It's based on their positions and how much interactive they have with members of the public. So again, as according to that, the policy, it says it's up to my discretion to how many people will be eligible for bilingual pay.
You have an estimated amount of people at this time?
One at this point.
I'll move for adopting the administrative regulation number 120.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Abstention? Did you?
I said no.
No, okay. It's approved 4-1. Next item on the general manager reports is consider appropriating $154,631 from a grant we got from Cal Recycle for SB 1383 Local Assistance Grant Program to the district's fiscal year 22-23 budget. Do any of the directors have questions on this item?
Just what account is that going to be going into?
Well, it'll go in the solid waste fund. Yeah, it all goes to the solid. I can't spend that on the wastewater side.
Just putting on the record. Okay. That's great. When did we submit our application for this?
Oh, I don't know the exact date, but I do know the check came in. I think I gave a copy of the board, so we do have the monies in the bank. So we do have the money. I don't remember when it was submitted. I think it was submitted earlier this year, probably. Yeah.
That's good. Is this amount more than most get, or? didn't-
Yes, because there, at the time the grant was available, every jurisdiction was eligible to receive funding. But however, believe it or not, there were some jurisdictions that never submitted an application. So therefore, there was more money in the pot. Therefore, every jurisdiction got a little bit more money than they requested. Yes.
Have we told the Cal Recycles exactly what we're going to spend the money on?
Yes, we did.
And is that changeable?
I'm sure it's amendable. We would have to get their approval. Yes, if there's something you want to amend, we would bring it back to them, get their approval.
Well, we had a very long and healthy discussion on it partially escapes me now. I think it was Oh, yes, it was the explanation to the public about additional ways to collect the food scraps to put in the cans. And then so my question is, when or how are we going to address that?
Well, we spoke about that in the last study session.
Yes.
Board directs us to proceed, so we'll include that into this educational program. So some of the methods, I think we mentioned, social media, brochures. We'll have at community events. There's a wide array of methods we can use to get the message out.
Well, we presently have a video on the pails, and it's in English and Spanish. Dr. Eccles had a good suggestion about what can we use and what can't we use. And
Yes.
so I would encourage staff to review that and then follow up on what you said is some of those comments will be incorporated into the spending of this money. Does this consider approving? So we need a motion to approve.
Yes, because you need to appropriate the money into the solid waste fund. So this is an action item.
Okay. Is there further discussion? Director?
Just as a follow-up to President Newton, so we'll get some of these things back at a study session to review. We don't necessarily need to vote, but at least bring it back to us to review.
You want to review the public outreach information?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. So, all right, thank you.
I know Jennifer's also on the call. Is there anything she needs to,
She's available to answer any questions you may have.
just questions? Just questions, Jen? You don't want to talk to us?
Just here for questions, but always happy to continue supporting. So thanks, everyone.
I do have one quick question, and we're going to partner with several other organizations, I imagine, as we work through this. I think they've changed their name, but the group and the guy's name, I think, was Mike.
Ballier?
No. With the Orange County Recycle the,
Abound Food Care.
what's that?
Abound Food Care.
I think that's who it is, yeah.
They used
Is
to be
that
Waste
someone
Not
Look,
OC.
Jen?
Yes, sir. We sure are. But we're already working with them with another jurisdiction that we've started doing SB 1383 work for.
Great, okay.
Are there any other questions from the directors? If not, do I have a motion to?
I move
approve?
for approval of this item as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Or anyone wishing to abstain? On to the next item, which is item number 3. Consider voting for one candidate to the California Special Districts Association Boards of Directors, seat B. Scott?
It's only one candidate, right?
Yeah.
I only saw from,
Nolani.
Oh, okay.
Good afternoon, Board of Directors. CSDA did provide the district with the names of the 3 candidates who are running for the Southern Network seat B. And that would be Don Bartz, Ken Enter, and Beverly Marshall. Their campaign information is enclosed as attachments to the staff report. If you'd like to review them and consider for a vote.
When was that
Well, yeah.
updated?
Can I make comment?
Wait a minute.
I think-
When was that updated?
That was given to us this afternoon.
Okay, so that's why I wasn't able to read it this morning. Okay. Sorry, Arlene, but I just.
That's okay.
Arlene?
I was just going to say, I would like to recommend Don. I've worked with him a lot over the years. And what he wants to do is get on the board of directors again. And he's a general manager already. And he's been involved, well, you read it all about him here, as far as he's done commissioner work before. And he sat on 2 different committees with me right now up in Sacramento, which is membership as well as professional development. And he brings a lot to the table. So anyway, that's what it is he is in B right now.
Is in what?
which is, that means Southern California. There's a A, B, and a C for us.
Mhm.
And so like next time would be my turn to be C. So there's 6 different counties that we represent. And so, you know, he's done a good job, and he would just like to excel more on it and be on the board of directors to have more to say.
Do any of the other directors have comments?
Yeah, so first a question. I was like, Vice President Schaefer, I looked at this over the weekend, and then in fact this morning too, to make sure I read things properly, and I didn't see this, and I understand these came in late. So my question is, when is this vote due?
July 11th. So we have a couple of weeks.
I mean, I don't vote for things I don't know about. And when it was one candidate, it was like, well, okay. But now that there's 3, I would offer that maybe we could look at this at our study session. So that gives us all an opportunity to at least review what these people are all about.
You don't trust me?
I trust you, but I don't vote for things unless I see it myself.
But you know,
What-
he
what-
has a good
what is the date
background.
of the
Yeah.
study session?
July
And
12th. So wouldn't
sure,
make it,
Wouldn't make the date.
we could bring it back to special meeting if needed.
Can I just make a quick comment? Okay, so I've now looked at all 3 of them, and Mr. Bartz gave a pretty good description of his activities and his experience. And when I look at the other 2 candidates, they basically filled out a form and said, I want to be there. The one guy, or excuse me, the one person, Beverly Marshall. So is that a woman, I assume?
Mhm.
Who knows? So she's been with the district 2.5 years, and she put her qualifications down. She's a member of CSMFO, CASA, CWEA, Cal Perla, Cal ICMA, NACWA, AWA, ICMA, WEF. What are those? To me, I won't vote for Beverly because I don't know. Besides, she's a Rotarian. Why would I vote for a Rotarian? And that's being facetious. I apologize. To me, Bart's at least took the time and effort to give us a resume that's more complete. Just my thought.
Yeah, he, you know, he also has sent this resume to everybody in Southern Division.
Do we have
So
a
that they
motion
all
on? Can we
will-
get a motion?
I'll move that we, and with all due respect to Director Eckers, I totally agree about not voting, but I mean, I've had a few minutes to look at both Beverly and Ken. Ken says I've been to workshops. It's not the kind of guy I want representing on the CSDA board. So I'll move to cast a vote for Phelan, Pinion Hills, CSDs, Don Bartz.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
It's not unanimous, it's 4-1. Thank you very much. And go on to engineers' reports. Mark, is that your report?
Yes, President Newton, Board of Directors, 3 items. Project 28, pipe phase 2 is completed this month. Project 334 Geisler Force Main will advertise early to mid-July. We'll get that out to bid and get the force main in Geisler Avenue built. And then Project 336 Grade 4 repairs, the phase 1 projects were completed. So for the sake of brevity, I'll conclude my report, but I'll answer any questions the board may have.
Do any of the board members have questions on the engineer's report? Is it a receive and file? Yeah, receive and file. So I'll deem it received and filed. Go on to the treasurer's report. This is a consideration for adopting resolution 2022-964, authorizing the Costa Mesa Sanitary District to enter into a joint exercise of powers agreement relating to California class and to invest in shares of the California class. Mark, is that your item?
Yes, it is. Thank you, Mr. President, board members. This item, as we discussed at your last study session, is a resolution for you to participate as a founding participant in the JPA for a newly formed local government investment pool as an investment option for the district. As we discussed at the study session, there are two ways to be able to participate in this pool, should you choose to participate in the pool. One is just a participant, in which case, if you want to move down that path, I'll just fill out forms and we'll add it as an investment option. The other alternative is that we discussed is a founding participant. As a founding participant, you become a signatory to the JPA that's attached to the agenda item. And as a founding participant, you have the ability to be able to sit on the board if so appointed or elected. With that, we discussed it in detail at the study session. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Do any of the directors have further questions? Director,
From 2 weeks, Mark, and anything change, add any further research? Because I know one of my concerns is we don't know what we don't know. Is there any new information?
The only new information since we met is the actual JPA agreement was adopted and it was approved. That's the only thing that's changed since that time. We still can't even invest in it. It's not open for investment yet. I have no track record to be able to do it. And should you want to go down this path and add it as an investment option, I still won't invest right away. We're going to watch it and see how it performs and how it works before we actually put money with it.
Thank you.
What direction would you go? Would you say, let's go for it and then wait and see what happens? Or what would you do?
I think it's a good alternative to LAIF to be able to participate in another local government investment pool. I can't make that decision about the founding participant or not, because that really is if you as the board members or somebody on the staff wants to go down that path of being on the board. Does that add value? Does it get you more interest earnings? No, it doesn't do that. Whether you participate as a founding member or not, it's still good. You're going to earn the same.
Is there any cost becoming a founding member?
I'm sorry,
Was
what's
there any cost to us?
There's no cost, and right now there's no time frame for you to join as a founding member. The actual JPA was only signed by 3 agencies when it was formed. They both CSDA and the League of California Cities are traveling to other special districts and other municipalities to educate them about this opportunity. But it's in its infancy.
Can I ask a question to Scott? Have you been discussing this item with other agencies?
Most agencies are still learning about class. As I mentioned, I first learned about it when Neil and Rick Wood, their finance director, presented this at ISDOC quarterly meeting. And then after that, I followed up with them, and then that's when they met with Mark and myself and Caitlin personally. I know they presented this heavily at the GM conference down in San Diego, where they had a breakout session on that, and they really,
I
yes,
figured you talked about
they
it.
even had the managers of class actually sponsor and speak in front of all the groups. So they were really pushing it pretty hard to educate GMs about class.
That's why I asked that question, because I figured you did.
And they're going to do it again. And with the conference in August, yeah, you'll be hearing class a lot.
well, you were saying they were pushing it hard. They were pushing the education of the potential hard.
Yes, about class, informing the general managers about this new opportunity.
My turn?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to add to it that remember from their study session that the good part of this was if you put money in, you can get it out too. And you're not going to be under a lot of strain of time-wise of getting it out or anything. And the one thing that I think is important to understand too, that Rick Wood, who is the person who is sitting up there as the treasurer, he is fantastic on doing things. I believe heavily on him, and everything he touches seems to work out perfect. And this is a great opportunity for us to get in on the ground floor of something that's going to keep going and going. And League of Cities going to probably get into it. A lot of the name droppers will. But the point is, we have to make a decision too.
Dr. Eccles?
Yeah, Mark, how many founding members are there currently signed up for this?
There's just 3 as of the time that the agenda report was prepared.
And when is the group looking to seal this founding member thing up and get rolling, actually investing?
In our discussions with representatives of CSDA, they said it's open-ended. There is no end date. That people, if they choose to sign on much later from now, they certainly can do that as a founding participant.
Man, I'm just recommending, it's been said, we don't know much of anything. We don't, there's no track record. There's 3 founding members. There's no harm in waiting. I would suggest we hold off on this for the time being until some more established procedures get put in place.
And you're not a risk taker.
Not with my own money, maybe.
Any of the other directors have any comments?
I'll just chip in with, based on what Mark has told us, and I appreciate you not advising us which way to go. And I think that's what you need to do, and that's your job. And I appreciate that. I just don't see any. I just finished being a part of SDRMA and going into a captive situation, which gave us more flexibility on what we can invest and has really no downside other than there could be some risk in terms of what we invest from our workers' comp portfolio with SDRMA. To me, this is an opportunity that doesn't pose any risk. I mean, there's 0 risk with it. Very similar to what we do with CalTrust. I mean, we're with CalTrust and we've never given them a nickel, have we?
Yeah,
Correct.
that's for
I
sure.
mean, but we have the opportunity to be able to benefit from something that's just starting. In today's public investment world, if we don't have other options, we could hurt ourselves as far as I'm concerned. So by participating in this and becoming a founding member, it also gives us the opportunity to have a say in what's going to happen in the future of this thing. Or we could say, never mind, there's nothing, I didn't read anything that says we can't back out
Right.
tomorrow if we approve it tonight. I mean, we can go either way with this, but becoming a founding member, I think, gives us the opportunity to have a voice in the direction that they haven't really established yet, if we want to. We don't have to. But you've got a good mind for investments, and I know this guy does. There may be the opportunity as a founding member that we could jump in there and do the district a lot of benefit. So with that, I would support us taking no risk and becoming a founding member. I mean, I don't see any downside to it. Other than, like Director Eccles said, we don't know, there's no track record and we can't judge on what they're gonna do. But I don't see any negative to doing that.
I may make one clarification. There's no track record in California for this happening. This investment manager operates in 10 other states with the exact same program that are offered to local governments and special districts in other states. The only difference between there and California is they have to abide by the California government code when they make their investments, which is very different than the other states. That's really the only difference. I do not have any information on how long they've participated in those other states, but it's been around for a while. It's just brand new to California.
And again, going back to my original comment about why SDRMA formed that captive, is that we wanted to get away from some of the restrictions that we have in California on what we can invest in. That's why we did the captive. And so far it's worked pretty well. So I see an possible opportunity here for the same type of thing.
I see no downside in it, really. So we can back out at any time.
Well, I really appreciate what Brett said about we don't know. I mean, I get that, but I also get the fact that, I should have bought more property 40 years ago, and I didn't. So I just think, like Art said, there's really no downside to this.
I'll second the motion. This is on 2022-964.
I think
You made the motion.
Did I make a motion?
Would you,
Did I? Okay, well, I move that we join this organization as a founding member.
This is on 2022-964 though, first one.
2022-964.
And I second it.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm gonna stay on my lone island again and I'll oppose.
Okay. Motion carries 4-1.
Wait till the tide goes out.
Sorry. Do we need to is item 2 different than?
Yes.
Different.
Okay, let's go on to item number 2. Consider adopting resolution 2022-965, approving the statement of investment policy and delegating the investment function to the district treasurer. Okay, this is a standard annual item, right?
It is an annual item. And just to clarify that, there is no requirement currently in the California Government Code to adopt an investment policy. It was mandated after the Orange County bankruptcy. It has since been repealed, but we believe it's a good idea to continue to, for you to review your policy once a year at a public meeting and adopt it. And so that's what this resolution does. The resolution also delegates the investment function to the treasurer for a period of 1 year. Per California Government Code, you're responsible for placing your own investments. If you want to delegate that function, then you have the ability to be able to do that for a 1-year period only to a treasurer. And that's the only changes in this investment policy from last investment policy is some language has been added for California class that you just approved. There's 2 versions in there. There's a clean version. There's a red line version for you to make it very easy to see what the changes were.
Yeah, I think the other change was the year.
Year changes every year.
So there were 2 changes.
Yeah.
There were 2 changes in the red line version.
I'll move approval of this item, 2022-965.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed?
I'm jumping off my island and I'm swimming with you guys on this one.
Tide's out.
It's unanimous. Thank you, Mark.
Put that in there. We haven't seen him in a long time.
Who's that?
Who is that guy?
Who? Mark?
Second from the end.
Oh,
We see him on TV.
We see him
oh, yeah,
on
we've
TV.
seen him on TV. Okay, we're going down to attorney's reports, and this is a resolution authorizing remote meetings. Do any of the directors have any discussion on this item?
I think it's a good idea to have, and especially in the next months coming up. I'll move for approval of 2022-966.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're going down to okay, local meetings. First item is Orange County Sand District. We had a board meeting last Wednesday. There were 30 items on the agenda. Three of them were closed session items. The main thing that I think is important was there were 2 people actually running for vice president. The previous meeting, there was no one running for the chair position. It was a new chair. Chad Wonky is the chair. Jess Gallagher was voted in. I think he's the city councilman from Tustin. He was voted in as the vice president. And they basically, I think, will serve 2-year terms. There were the other thing of interest probably is they have created, Orange County Sand District has created a wastewater 101 Citizens Academy, and they had a graduation. And I think there were probably 7 or 8 people made it through that academy. Then there were employee service awards, whole bunch of other items up to the general manager's fiscal year work report, year-end report, and so on. There were 3 closed session items, one dealing with labor negotiations and two with existing litigation. That concludes my report. Art, did you attend?
I
SARFA?
attended the SARF meeting. I have it in my thing that I'm gonna already give to Nalani, but I'll give you a quick update. The budget was approved for 22-23 with the 22 members at same fee, $1,300. The election, we had new election of the executive committee, and I'm still on the committee, but a new chairman was formed, Patrick Harper, and vice chair Bruce Whitaker. So those are 2 members that have been on the committee, but moving up the ladder. State legislative report. We're working on the state subvention program, the wording of it required by Orange County. Have some new wording on it because we have a new person in charge. The funding project will be extended for next year. It just needs the governor's signature, so that's good. Federal, the Santa Ana Mainstream project money will be available to purchase the land behind El Prado Dam. Cost will be roughly $63 million, and they need to acquire 23 more properties. There's no movement for money for the Westminster Garden Road project. Funds are in the IJA bill to help fund the project. So they're going to get money, but it's not in the initial funding, but there's going to be letters. I mean, they're going to have money for the project. Then they had a slide presentation of the Santa Ana Mainstream and Westminster projects. And the key one was the spillways going to be completed by 2024. And basically this committee will be ended. And then there'll be like a 5-year period of time to make sure everything's running well. And then the meeting for July is canceled, and they're going to use that time to have a tour of the project for the new members. So that was it.
Thank you, Art. On Secretary Schaefer, do you have a report on his document?
Okay. On Tuesday, the 10th, I had a study session right here. And that was at 8:30. But before that, I had a meeting in the back room with on ISDOC, so that I could come right out and be with the study session when we started. And then the Costa Mesa Sanitary District pump station was at 2:00. So that took care of all that. May 16th, I flew to Sacramento and had a board meeting, executive board meeting first at 2:00 before the regular meeting, and then a reception at 5, and then a chapter meeting at 5:30. And at that time, I was representing ISDOC, Independent Special Districts of Orange County, because they decided that they couldn't go. So anyway, it was a good meeting and got to know everybody. May 17th, legislation days, was still in Sacramento with different meetings and workshops so that we could get different thoughts of whoever we felt should be at a meeting. And May 18th was a meeting at Sacramento also, and that was continued on to workshops. I went to the Little Hoover position because I wanted to hear what was going on with them. We're trying to let the Little Hoover commission be able to know what's going on with special districts so that they have a better take on it, because before they didn't understand that we were important. And so it's working out very well. And May 23rd at 4:30, I was here for a board meeting, and that was it.
Mike, do you have a report on SDRMA?
Yeah, we had actually had our board meeting last Wednesday and Thursday, and the biggest item of interest for CMSD is earlier in that earlier in that week, the excess lines brokers finally gave us the rate for the liability portion. And doomsday did not happen. So the liability rates are, and you guys may have already gotten your invoice or if not, it's on the way. So the rate's only gonna go up 15%. And I think we had talked about 30 or 35% earlier in the year. But some changes were made, and we've actually looked at a different surplus lines or excess lines broker who we think is going to be much better for all of our members. So that was really the big thing that came out of the SDRMA meeting. Some other changes. One of the things that districts are going to start, or members are going to start seeing, and I would encourage all of us, including staff, be ready to get bombarded with cybersecurity information. We include cybersecurity in our policy. Most JPAs do not. And so we get it at a very reasonable cost, but the education process is going to ramp up. And I guess for you guys, especially, that's going to be somewhat important. So that was the main thing out of SDRMA.
Can I ask a question of Scott? Are we looking at somebody in that position for cybersecurity?
We currently, our consultant Acorn helps us with cybersecurity. So Acorn, along with our staff, Gina and Nalani, are working closely with Acorn on cybersecurity measures. For example, they, we do training on phishing, what to look for on peculiar emails, right?
Do you do that? Do you do that every day or?
No, it's every I don't know how often it is, as needed, I guess you could say. But I know we just finished some training on the phishing. So that's been done just recently. So we've working closely with Acorn and making sure that we are performing the best we can to make sure our systems are safe and secured.
Because I ask you that because of the Waco meeting 2 times ago, that was the presentation of the cybersecurity.
Right.
And they thought that might be your highest paid employee, the cybersecurity person. So I'm glad you told me the information tonight. It's good.
Yeah.
Let me know when the applications go out.
I gotta say something.
One of the things we heard last week, SDRMA uses a group called iFish. There are our IT people, essentially. And the presentation that was made to us, which hopefully will filter down to our members, is that iFish has developed, I'm going to call it a backup system, or I don't want to say cloud because I don't think it's in the cloud, but it's a backup system that is impregnable. I mean, it cannot be destroyed. So everything that we do as an organization, SDRMA, goes into this vault, if you will, and you can't get in. I mean, the only people that can get in are the ones who know how to get in, which would be our IT people. So that was pretty encouraging. We've had some attacks. I mean, it's amazing to hear how many districts, special districts in California, especially the little tiny ones, have no IT presence whatsoever. They have, so education is going to be key, because these little districts think that they can't be violated. They can be violated in a minute. So be ready for that.
Actually, I think.
I was gonna say something. My turn.
Before I forget.
Okay. I just wanted to tell you that ISDOC, at our next meeting, I have for the program cybersecurity.
When's the next meeting?
So
When is the next meeting?
the next meeting.
July 28th.
July 28th?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, there was I heard a
So-
question. So
It would be good to tune into that.
it is a big issue. I expect we'll be spending a ton of money. The quote was those are $300,000 a year personnel. It's extremely important on the national level, local level, and district level. So we're going to be talking a lot about cybersecurity. Any other meetings to qualify for reimbursement.
I just have one real quick one. I don't, I'm sorry, I don't have the date, but I think I'd mentioned, and maybe I mentioned to you, Scott, that I attended a Zoom presentation from Metropolitan Water District. It was led by Director Larry Dick. And it involved, it was basically a legislative update, but he also talked about Poseidon and the fact that Poseidon got bumped by the Coastal Commission. And Larry's opinion was that Poseidon's now dead. I mean, there's nothing they can do to recover it. And it was an interesting discussion and he presented it very well. But basically, someone asked him, so what's your opinion of he says, it's basically over, which I, with all the money and effort and all the stuff that Poseidon done, that seems surprising to me that, of course, when you're dealing with a Coastal Commission, it's kind of like Thor's hammer. When they drop it, there's not much appeal. So that was an interesting conversation to say the least.
Just ask Newport.
Ask Newport. That subject was broached. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no other meetings, I don't see any old business or new business. Go down to item L, which is oral communications and director's comments.
I've got a question for Scott. And I honestly can't remember, so it might be once a quarter, once a month, I can't remember, but the report back from CRR&R, the missed pickups and things like that, is that on a monthly basis for us that we review that, or is it a quarterly?
It was, for a while, it was a monthly because we're receiving, had a high volume of missed collections, but it seemed to be tapering off while we're still experiencing missed collections. I just stopped presenting that to the board every month. Now, if you want me to do that, even if we just have one missed collection or a couple of missed collections a month, I could do that, but I just stopped presenting that to the board because it hasn't been as enormous as it has in the past.
Well, and this is just me speaking. I would like to see it because if it's improved, that's a good news story. And we're going to, in the coming months, I think, evaluate new proposal and revise contracts with them. And I'd like the information, like if they're improving, I would love to tell our residents, hey, it was bad and it's getting better, or it's not good, whatever it is. So I'd be curious to see that.
Well,
You know.
was that monthly or quarterly?
Well, it was monthly.
It was
yeah.
monthly because it was so bad.
Yeah.
It was unprecedented, the type of missed collections we were experiencing. We've never experienced it before. So we're keeping the board informed. Okay, these are the locations been
Yeah.
missed, and here's what happened. But
Well,
we have seen improvements. That's why we weren't presenting it to you. But we can start that.
was it monthly in the general manager's report?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was here, and I think we had voted at one point that was part of our measurement metrics to get improvement. So in their benefit, if it is improving, let's hear it, and that only benefits them. And
Okay,
plus
yeah.
then for our constituents, it's like, well, yeah, you might get one, or this gentleman earlier. All right, we can all accept the occasional. What we couldn't accept was what was going on, and it was getting out of hand. So yeah, I would like to see it once a month, every other month, whatever, something,
Well, I'd also like a status update on negotiation with CR&R. I think the negotiations is waiting for one or more items. And I forget what those are, but I think it's holding up us getting involved with the 3-cart system. And so I would recommend that we move that out of those negotiations, or if it's been decided, we at least begin to be briefed that we're going to do it or not. I believe we're going to do it, but I think it's time is wasting to do the implementation of the 3-cart system.
Can I ask, are you on the committee now? Or you should be on
Well,
the committee?
we have an ad hoc committee, but we haven't met for a while.
I think you need to have a committee. I mean, whenever you meet, I'm not on that committee, but I think.
Yeah.
So what's the status? of that committee?
How about the solid waste ad hoc committee? It just meets whenever needed.
I think it's needed. I mean, that's what Bob's saying. We probably need to look at that.
Yeah, the only thing we're waiting for right now is a rate survey done by all the organizations in Orange County, and we won't know that till after July 1. So that's the only thing we're waiting for, and then we can present to the board our preliminary agreements on the agreement, and then get direction from the board.
So that could be a study session item.
No,
Next
not
month.
really. You guys should meet first. I mean, the committee should meet first, right? And then
It's up to you if you believe it. If you want to, we can do that. It's really up to the discretion of the board if you want to have ad hoc committee meet before, or if we could put on a study session. I mean, we're flexible on how you want to handle it.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not on the committee, so I'm not sure where
Probably
we're at.
should.
Probably
Mike,
should.
Mike would know that.
Yeah.
Maybe just a refresher meeting, Scott, to, you know, what I mean, just to kind of get caught up a little bit.
Are there any other directors'
I
comments?
do.
Arlene?
Okay. First, I just wanted to let you know on that ISDOC, this is our first time it's going to be public. So it's going to be down at MODOC
Public. Oh, you mean in person?
in person, yeah,
That's July
which is a
28th.
shock. So that's kind of, it's going to be a luncheon. So
Oh, is that one? Is
it'll be at 11:30 and people get there around 11,
that a Thursday?
a Thursday, yes,
July 28th.
on the 28th.
Oh, yeah, I have it
Okay.
on, I have it on my calendar, so
The other, pardon?
I do have it on my calendar.
Okay. The other one is there's SB 739. And I would like to see this on our study session because it's like government, it's Ortiz, not Spraberry. And it seems like the government is telling us about the housing that we need and what we should do with the golf courses. And I think we need to understand and have a better understanding of what's going on it. First time I agree with you. Anyway, it'll be interesting to do this. Senator Dave Cortese is the one that's SB 739. And it's really interesting, but
Let's turn golf courses into houses.
you know, they have certain specific ways that they allow it, you know, with private, and they want to build more housing all over. And, you know, I think I sit on the committee for this, and I do not want to get back to them without us taking a stance and for us commented on it. So I've just left it that way. So I'd like it on the next study
You know where I
session.
stand already.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got the golf coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golf courses. I think the city of
Doesn't
Costa
sound
Mesa is
like
doing
you.
well on housing already.
I think we're-
Okay,
I do have some,
okay,
if it's okay. It's my turn.
it's your turn.
Last, I think study session I'd asked, hopefully for a Facebook post from you guys on fireworks disposal. Can we still do that this week? I knew you were already working on it. I just wanted to make sure. The other thing, can we talk about flags for a minute? So President Uten tells me we have a room full of flags.
Well,
I have a suggestion if we can, and maybe this is a community collaboration like we did with the shredding. There is at least one funeral home in California, in Costa Mesa, that has a rather large incineration system. And it's Harbor Lawn over on Geisler. Maybe we could talk to them about borrowing their incinerator to dispose of we got to get them out of you guys. I mean,
Honestly, we can definitely, as an option, we can definitely look into it. I have another idea that I need to reach out to. My plan is to reach out to the Costa Mesa Fire Department and the Veterans Hall.
Actually, my second suggestion was going to be to contact Costa Mesa Fire Department, and maybe they could use the training area over by the city yard. They Estancia, they have fires out there all the time.
Yeah, it's a special ceremony you have to go through
Yeah,
and so
get it.
I saw a few years ago the city, Anaheim Fire Department did something with the veterans group at their station, something similar to that I'm looking at, but I gotta reach out to both the organizations and see if they want to do it. So
Okay.
that's the plan. But yeah, we have something in the works.
Yeah,
Well,
you-
I've reached out to Arliss Reynolds. She was in the Navy, and I intended to reach out to Andrea Marr, who was a Marine, to ask about this. I've also done some research on the internet, and I think Home Depot and or Walmart must be, their CEOs must be veterans, because I think they accept some of those, they accept flags. And so I would suggest that, at least I would take a few of the bags to Home Depot and or Walmart if they'll accept them. I have a second home in Upland, and there's a Walmart there and 2 Home Depots. I mean, we've got to get this, maybe that could be a study session item also next time,
Some alternatives.
to try to figure out. Nolani showed me the office. It's not full, but it's probably an 1/8 full, and we're getting a lot of flags, so they put them in bags and they put them in the office. Oh,
What? Oh, they don't have the ability to do, Scott has reached out. They don't have that's what we used to do. I knew from the Lions Club, we used to give it to the scouts, and they worked with the Elks Club to burn them. So the other alternative was to get a Weber barbecue, and we could have the ceremony out here in the park.
Well, I don't think it's getting a place to burn them. It's because if you go on the internet, it's just
Protocols.
fire pits, but it's the protocol and the procedures, the correct protocol and procedures.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, maybe that should be included in the study session report, is what are the correct procedures to follow?
Right, Mr. Worthington. I have one more item, if you don't mind, sir. We looking at the clock for, do you have a gig or
Go.
something? Okay, so not to add to the woes of CR&R, but I'm going to add to the woes of CR&R. So I get a text last Tuesday, and I don't know if Nabila has mentioned this to you, Scott? Anyway, Nabila reached out to me today because I called her. So let me read the text for you. It says, notice CR&R services. Your account is overdue. Barrels are scheduled to be pulled next week. Please contact us at phone number. And I thought, I don't know them anything. So me, this was texted to me. So I called CR&R, and it said, all of our representatives are busy. Please leave your number and I'll call you back, or we will call you back. So that was last Tuesday, and nobody has called me back yet, but that's okay. I also left a message for Julie, and she called me back today, but I haven't contacted her yet. So Nabila was more than gracious and said, let me talk to Mike Carey about it, see what's going on. Well, if you remember years ago, if we wanted extra barrels, we had to pay $18 a quarter or something like that. Whatever that was. Yeah. So apparently I had a balance due from 2015 on my barrels, the extra barrel. My balance due was $1.91.
Oh, gee.
And Mike Carey was amazed that it was still hanging around, still going on. So he told Nabila that he would take care of it, and not to worry about the dollar. Well, that's not going to happen. I've already written a check to CR&R for $1.91 so that they can get this cleared up. Now, Mike's not here tonight to be embarrassed for me to give it to him.
Probably.
Mike Carey, are you there?
I'm here.
Ah! I have a check, Mike, in all your graciousness, thank you. But I have a check to CR&R for $1.91. Okay,
All right, we're square.
I'm gonna mail it to your house.
All right.
Mike, you have to take Mike to lunch because he's paid.
I can't accept that, but I just, yeah, and I'm not trying to add to the disgruntlement, but I'm sure you agree that was a little excessive.
I do. I don't think that was the reason for the call. If I had to guess, I'd say there was a mix up with the phone number, but
we've been carrying that balance over for 7 years, so I don't think we're hot for it now.
Do I have any interest on the $1.91 that I have to pay?
You owe 20.
Yeah, after the penalties, I think it's going to be pretty high.
Anyway, I just wanted to add some levity to this and wish everybody a happy 4th of July.
I say you file an appeal and you bring it.
I could do that. So anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. A-
Thanks, Mike.
Any other director's comments or oral communications? Hearing none, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.